Hello and welcome all in this video. So we are going to discuss about the process of respiration, that is the breathing or the ventilation. So this is a mechanism of respiration. This is also called as mechanism of respiration or breathing or ventilation. So this is a process by which exchange of gases between atmosphere and lungs takes place. That is, the exchange of gases between the atmosphere and lungs takes place with the help of mechanism of respiration. That is, fresh air from the atmosphere comes into the lungs and stale air or waste air from the lungs is removed by this process of respiration. So with the help of this process, the maintenance of supply of fresh air and in order to expel waste air can be takes place constantly. This respiration is a physical process and it depends upon the changing pressure on thoracic cavity. So this process takes place by changing pressure on thoracic cavity. When we consider thorax is an airtight cavity. And this thorax cavity enveloped anteriorly by neck and shoulder. So to this cavity there is having, towards the anterior side of thoracic cavity there is having neck and shoulder. Towards dorsal side there is having vertebral column. Towards ventral side of this thoracic cavity there is having sternum. Towards lateral side having ribs and posteriorly having diaphragm. So this is an airtight cavity enveloped anteriorly by neck and shoulder, dorsally by vertebral column, ventrally by sternum, laterally by ribs and posteriorly by the diaphragm. So this chest cavity or the thoracic cavity increased or decreased by the action of two sets of muscles. So the chest cavity or thoracic cavity can be increased or decreased by a particular type of muscles. That muscles are called as internal and external intercostal muscles. There are two sets of these muscles, intercostal muscles. Some muscles are attached externally to the ribs, to the thoracic cavity, that is called as external intercostal muscles. And secondarily, some muscles are attached internally, and that is called as internal intercostal muscles. With the help of this external and internal intercostal muscles, the thoracic cavity is increased or decreased. We know that this process of respiration having two steps. First step is called as, or one step is called as inspiration, and second step is called as expiration. There is having inspiration followed by the expiration then followed by the inspiration. This two-step process is continuous, takes place. So about the inspiration. So the inspiration, at the time of inspiration, what happens? So we see here in the diagram. At the time of inspiration, this particular area of the diaphragm, that is diaphragm contracted, that is diaphragm pulls downwards with the help of the muscles attached to the diaphragm. That is, diaphragm become flat. This diaphragm become flat. Secondarily, the external intercostal muscles contract. Due to the contraction of external intercostal muscles, the ribs and the sternum is pulls upward and away from the body, and due to which this diaphragm become flat, and due to contraction of external intercostal muscles, the ribs and sternum are pulls upward and away from the body, due to which this area of the thoracic cavity is increased. This area is increased, and to occupy this space, the air from the outward atmospheric air rushes into this area, into this part of the thoracic cavity where there is having the lungs. that is the volume of thoracic cavity increased and the pressure on that lungs is decreased and the space is formed, and to occupy or to fill that space, the outward air rushes into the thoracic cavity and the inspiration takes place. So once again, see here, inspiration is the active process. Diaphragm becomes flat at the time of inspiration. Diaphragm grows downwards. Then secondarily, external intercostal muscles contract so that ribs and sternums moves upward and outward, and due to which increases thoracic volume, thoracic cavity increases, and pressure of thoracic cavity and secondarily on the lungs is decreased, due to which air rushes into the lungs. And this inspiration is continuous till the air pressure in the lungs is equal to the atmospheric air pressure. So this is about the inspiration, a first step of the breathing or ventilation. Secondarily, there is again having a second process that is called a second step that is called expiration. Expiration is a process which is reverse to that inspiration. Diaphragm relaxed. Diaphragm gets its original shape. Diaphragm becomes dome shaped due to a relaxation of the muscles attached to the diaphragm. Diaphragm becomes dome shaped. Diaphragm relaxed. External intercostal muscles again relax, due to which these ribs and sternum are returned to their original position, and due to which the area of the thoracic cavity is flattened, or this area is decreased. The pressure is exerted over the lungs, due to which the air from the lungs pushes towards outside. This is called as expiration. So what happens at the time of expiration? Diaphragm relaxes and pushes upwards, becomes dome shaped. Intercostal muscles relax, pulling ribs inward and downward, and decreases in the thoracic volume, increase the pressure on the lungs, so air from lungs rushes out. And this step is called as expiration. But even after exhalation, even after expiration, some air is left in the lungs, and that air is called as residual air, and the volume of residual air in the lungs is about 1200 ml. Air remains in the lungs. That air is called as residual air. So this is all about the breathing, ventilation or mechanism of respiration. So once again, thank you for watching this video, and if you like this video, then share with your friends and subscribe the channel. Thank you.